There was one for you, Kelsey, which said, how do you become good at so many open source technologies? These people are having probably some fan club out there, but they're having a hard time just getting their arms around Kubernetes, and then you're already on to Cloud Run and a bunch of different things. So how do you do that?
So 10 years ago, I came to the conclusion that there's probably nothing new, period. Just, it isn't. There's data that comes in, you do something with the data, and you put it somewhere else. Oh, MySQL, Oracle, Spanner, doesn't matter. They all have their own little protocol. They're going to store your data in some format. The bytes are the same. I know you want to say it's cloud native or new or it's old, legacy, it's all noise to me. There's the fundamentals. So when I look at the fundamentals, bytes are moving around. How do you want to move your bytes? You want to move it with Envoy? Envoy has to move the same bytes in the same way that everything else has. It's free to have a new interface. It's free to do different performance things. But at the end of the day, those bytes have to flow in a certain set of directions. That's it. So when I see new technology that comes out for networking, it's very simple. These bytes need to go from point A to point B. What are you going to do with those bytes? And the same thing is true for compute. You're going to call instruction sets on this kernel, on this CPU. You want to do it with Golang? You want to do it with Python? You want to do it with Docker? At the end of the day, you're just going to make some system calls. So I never get tripped up and confused with the noise. I just want to know, how are you going to do the fundamental thing? And that's how I find bugs, and that's how I work through. That's all it ever can be, is the fundamentals. And then if you respect that and you learn the fundamentals, any new technology that comes out, you only have to ask one question: how are you implementing the fundamentals? And then that's my secret to doing that.
There's another.
My view, and the thing that I typically tell people is that, all of us that are sitting here building infrastructure, we're doing it to support application developers building business logic. Like, that's the entire point. I mean, infrastructure is overhead. There's no point to it, right? I mean, the way that people make money is by writing business logic. So, I think my goal, and this is not a 3-year out, this is more of a 5 to 10 year out, is that I think ultimately I do believe in the quote serverless paradigms. And just by that, I mean that in the long run, as Kelsey was saying, you want people to write code and store data and talk to things. That's it. That's all application developers care about. They don't care about container systems. They don't care about networking. They don't care about routing. They don't care about failover. And so I guess my view is that our goal is to make it so that no one even cares or knows about Kubernetes. They don't care or know about Envoy. Like, Envoy is a transparent thing that provides functionality, and all people are doing is the fundamentals. And we're so far away from that right now, and that's what excites me, is that we have many years of building better abstractions and better systems so that the fundamentals just get to people in a much simpler fashion.
Yeah, so I think if you look at like programming languages, so if you look at neural programming languages, I would even put Python in that category, and like Golang, they have very extensive standard libraries. Like Go has this very robust HTTP server where typically you don't need to front it with anything. And a lot of the libraries that you see in the standard library allow you to compose just software that's ready to go on the network. That was Go's goal. If you think about this from the platform perspective, so platforms are evolving from just these bare metal machines, Linux, systemd, init systems. And now that we're in this like Kubernetes era, serverless eras, I think Kubernetes and Envoy just become standard libraries for platforms. If you're going to build a platform to talk about Matt Skull, you're just going to look at these as standard libraries, all right? I need something to handle this network layer. I need something to handle the compute layer. You're just going to import those into your stack. And the thing that you build on top will be that higher level thing. That's what Go's trying to do for you. You build programming logic. You don't think about SSL handshakes. You don't think about HTTP handshakes. All you do is import the library, you write your handler, and you handle the request. These things that we're working on is all so you can have that platform at top. So I think that's the best way to start thinking about the future of these things. Start at, what do you want to do? What's the minimal required to do it? And all the things that are getting in your way of the minimal requirement, that's the things that we probably need to flesh out and build, but that's the things that will underpin the long-term platform.